guys, Dr. Christy Ennis. If you're watching this video today, odds are you had a thought bubble just like I did when I was flat on the floor a few days ago, and you may even be watching this while on the floor right now. And you know how miserable that feels, so I want to show you some things to get you out of that choose your vocabulary word there, source of pain as soon as possible. So we're going to go over what to do to get you feeling better quickly, and just as importantly, what not to do so you don't make things worse, because yeah, I've been guilty of that before too. So the very first thing that you need to know is that what happens in a spasm is that those muscles are actually trying to protect. So typically it's these muscles that run right alongside the spine and sometimes into these glutes a little bit too. And it can be trying to lift something, trying to move something, anything can be light or heavy that your spine isn't quite ready for. So again, those muscles are trying to protect, and they're trying to protect those joints. So typically the spine isn't quite stable enough to handle whatever task it is that you're asking it to do. So those muscles go, and you know exactly, because it might even sound like that in your head. I swear it did in mine. So what we want to do as step number one is actually get things to relax. So a big part of getting those muscles to relax is putting that spine in a position that feels supportive and truly non-threatening for it. Oftentimes that happens to end up being in a sitting or a lying position, not usually standing. Again, always listen to your body. But a lot of times it's, again, what position can we get that spine into that feels a little bit better so those muscles don't feel like they have to guard all the time. If you're sitting, and it can be any type of chair that you've got with you, right? A lot of times even a recliner in the beginning feels a little bit better. But if you take a small pillow, and this is such a nice one because it talks about dreams, or even a rolled towel, usually not a huge one, like a hand towel kind of thing, and slide that behind the back carefully. And then you can kind of adjust it up or down a little bit and let yourself relax. Don't hold yourself, right? When we're talking about relaxing, you let yourself relax into that, into a comfortable position. You can play around with your pelvis. For me, it doesn't actually feel great to rock back and forth too much. So it's just trying to find that kind of happy medium. And then you can go, oh, thank you. Finally, something that feels pretty darn good. Now that's if you're sitting and it feels comfortable. For me, lying on my back was by far and is by far still, because this was only a few days ago, the most comfortable position that I can find. And I'm going to show you how to adjust that. So lying down, like I said, on my back actually was the most comfortable position. And a lot of people find this too. So I'm going to get my nice comfy bed here. Carefully still, I'm going to move, as you should also. And I'm going to lie right on my back. I'm going to support my neck, and that's different for everybody. But where the key thing comes in is getting something underneath those knees and those legs. Now you may have to adjust how much of a pillow height you use. And actually when I first started a few days ago, I needed this a little bit higher. But that again just takes some pressure off, which is really nice. You'll also notice that I have this lovely blue cushion underneath my heels, and that is because I have pretty long legs, and when I just let my legs dangle, it actually feels like it's tilting my pelvis a little bit more, which was super uncomfortable. So you may not have a handy dandy blue Air-X pad with you, but you might have another pillow. You can always go get another pillow if you don't. And so if that feels more comfortable, go ahead and put that underneath you as well. And then I'm just going to roll to my side just a touch, because along with relaxing things comes these handy dandy little ice packs. Now, there's debate about whether heat or ice is better. And I'm going to tell you, at least for me, when I did something and I felt it right away and I had some swelling, ice felt a lot better. And the research is a little bit up and down. So I usually tell people, obviously go with what feels best. But if you know that it was an actual incident that caused this, you have any visible bruising or swelling, usually ice is going to feel better. If it's just a matter of things, oh my gosh, got tight, and they tend to just kind of get tight, tight, tight all the time, heat might feel a little bit better for you. So that's one way to kind of distinguish that. But as I was lying down, I had somebody bring me some ice. You can gently try to lift a little. And I like the flexible ones because they just feel better to me. Even frozen corn and frozen peas, the good old standby works. 15 to 20 minutes, just kind of let yourself, I don't know, hang out. How often do you get to do that, right? Injury is a great time for that. All right, and you can do this a few times a day. Now, I know I'm talking about relaxing, and I also mentioned what you do not want to do. And I'm going to tell you that goes along with relaxing. So number one, you do not want to stretch this out after this has happened, immediately after this has happened. Look at a guitar string that's really tight. If you try to pull that, what happens? It snaps. Now picture your body. Not a good thing. So try to stay away from stretching until things actually calm down. Remember, those muscles are trying to protect. We don't want to snap them. Number two is any sort of deep massage you want to stay away from too. What tends to happen is that those muscles overreact to that, and those darn things that are already going womp, 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 now go whoa if they get louder, okay? They're gonna talk to you even more. So it usually takes a few days, and you'll know when things start to calm down and you can move a little better when those things are okay. And I just love this position, so I feel like I should just stay here for the rest of the video. I won't. So number three position here, and actually there's been some studies with non-specific low back pain, meaning, you know, who knows what the heck caused it, that shows that side lying tends to be the most comfortable position. Just kick things out of the way. What tends to help though is a pillow, and again, you need to adjust the height a little bit. Not just in between the knees, but make sure your feet are resting on that too. That actually helps support the pelvis a little bit more. And you can play around with the position of the knees. Now, the legs extended down a little bit more takes a little bit of pressure off of those hip flexor muscles, which certainly tight hip flexor muscles can also cause, right, pulling and tightness in the back. But to be honest, you got to go with whatever is comfortable. And if it feels more comfortable for you to be in that fetal position right now, you go for it. You do you, okay? So again, whichever position feels most comfortable, that's where you want to go. Now for step number two, we're going to talk about a breathing technique. I'm going to put this pillow back under here. So choose your side or sitting or standing if that's more comfortable. Oh, also, every once in a while being on the stomach feels better, and you'll know that will feel better because if you extend that back, so if you stand or sit and you go to lean back and that feels better, generally being on your stomach feels better. Now, I'm not going to get into that position because it really doesn't feel good for me. But if you lie on your stomach, sometimes what helps that is actually placing a pillow underneath your hips, and then that can help to relieve things. But we're going to move on to that breathing. And why breathing? Well, number one, breathing is important, right? Number two, breathing actually helps, the correct breathing helps to decrease all of that hyperactivity in the nervous system and relax the muscles. So we're in a good position for our body. It doesn't feel threatened. We've got our ice on. And you're going to work on some abdominal breathing. So one of the easiest ways I've found to calm things down is if I think about filling up the belly while breathing in and then letting go and letting it relax out. To really get things to relax, you want to take a shorter breath in, so about to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then exhale. You can hold for a little bit. Exhale for twice as long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Tummy's growling until all that air is expelled. That again helps calm that nervous system down even more. Telling your body, there's no threat here. We're going to be okay. All right, step number 4 is actually getting a little bit of stability work in there. I'm going to start lying down and then I'll move to sitting to show you a little bit more. But in order to do this, like I said, your spine is feeling unstable right now, right? So we want to try to give it something safe so that it feels a little bit more stable so those muscles don't feel like they got to keep doing this and your whole body feels like they got to keep doing this. Okay, so going back to that breathing, when you breathe in, right, that belly fills up. As you exhale, you actually want to think about gently pull that belly button down towards your spine a little bit to activate those deeper muscles. Then you want to hold that there. And remember, you probably are not feeling great. So we're going to start with even just that. So even just working on activating those deep muscles with that breathing. So breathe in, exhale, gently pull that belly button in. Once that feels tolerable and safe, remember you're not moving your pelvis back and forth, you're just getting those muscles. Then you can add in even a little bit of arm movement. So activate the muscles first, pull in, hold those muscles, not your breath, and then we're even just going to add in a little bit of arm movement to go along with that to make these work a little bit harder. So the trunk has to stabilize as things move around it. A lot of times, I'm gonna have you can even add in a little bit of like a heel slide if you want, but this sometimes feels pretty darn uncomfortable right in those first couple days. So it's okay if you just start with the arms. And then I'm gonna show you how you do that in a sitting position as well. All right, if you feel better sitting and want to try some of these stability things sitting, make sure that you do have your feet planted on the ground, you're in your comfy chair with your support, and then that same idea. Sometimes it's a little harder to activate those stomach muscles sitting than it is lying down, so just keep that in mind too, but you can do that same breathing thing where you're going in, out, pulling that belly button in, still breathing, and then adding that arm movement in. You can come up, and actually you can go all sorts of positions here. And the same thing would hold true for the legs. If you want to add a little bit of a march in here, you just need to make sure that the only thing that's moving besides if you're Italian and talking with your hands is those knees lifting up a little bit, right? Trunk stays nice and stable. All right, and then number 5 is gentle and safe movement. Here we are back on our beds again. Step number 5 is some gentle movement to start getting your body used to getting movement again, right? So you want to listen to your body here. Don't push through it. And this is again kind of the third step that I see people do incorrectly, is that they're like, okay, I'm feeling a little better. It's time to just go. And then you might end up back at step 1, and I don't want you to do that. So you have to take things slowly. Unfortunately, this doesn't just take a couple hours for you to be like 100% again. Trust me on that one. So generally what feels good is just like I said, some small, easy movements. So a lot of times I'll have myself and my patients just start with a little gentle rock side to side. And you may say, oh, I don't like going that way. It's okay, don't go that way. Or just go that way just a touch. Don't work into pain. If it's more comfortable going in one direction, go a little bit more in that direction, and then just go as far as you can in the other direction. You may notice that as you start to move, you actually get a little bit more motion. That can happen. And then if, again, you're starting to feel a little better with motion, you can start doing some gentle pelvic tilts kind of back and forth. Just use your best judgment on what feels good. You don't have to like overarch and super flatten. Remember, small motion here. Shoot for 5 or 10 reps of these a couple times a day if you can. And then again, if it's really just muscle and it's been spasmy and it's now starting to calm down, a lot of times what feels really good is to try to, now that we've been a few days and things are calming down, stretch them gently. So sometimes that's one knee at a time, and I usually just have people hold this for a couple breaths. Don't sit there and have to count seconds necessarily, but sometimes when you're just starting out, it's just holding it for even a few seconds is all that feels good. If you go, oh my gosh, that feels like the best thing in the world, then you can go ahead and even do 2. Now again, use your best judgment. If it doesn't feel good to flex, please don't do this, okay? And if you really feel a lot better extending, sometimes that's the sciatic nerve involved, and I'll link a video for you to look at that one too. You can even add a little foot movement if you want to. Woo! So there you have it. Take you through those first really yucky days to hopefully get you feeling a heck of a lot better. Thank you so much for watching today. If you would like to support me as well as reduce some pain and get rid of the appearance of that cellulite, click the link below to order your own Derma Edge, a device that I created and patented when I was going through the middle of Lyme disease in a lot of pain and needed a way to work on my own body. So the shape of the Derma Edge allows you to get all body parts in a gentle way. We're getting that fluid moving in between the layers, which helps you move better, helps get rid of that pain, and decreases that bumpiness of the cellulite. So make sure to click the link below to order your own.